Okay, Boker Tov. Today's daf is Daf Peiches in Ksubas. Daf Peiches. We really start from the last couple of words on Peizayin Beis, but just in case to refresh your memory, since you might be tired, we'll look at the last 10 lines on Peizayin Beis quickly. The Mishnah said, the Mishnah talked about many cases where she has to make a shvu in order to collect her ksuba, meaning what's going on over here. We're not talking about when they both agreed that he owes her the ksuba. He claims, I paid you the ksuba already. I paid you the 200. And she says, no, you didn't. So she's got a piece of paper, though. She's got the ksuba. That's a star, right? That's all she needs. However, there are cases, the rabbi said, for different reasons, she should still have to make a shvuah. One is, for example, if she admits part of it's been paid. Or if one aide says, that the husband says, not only do I say I paid you, I have a witness here that says I paid you. That's what the Mishnah said. Wait a minute, isn't that a shvuah d'oraisa? The Gemara says. Why are these seem to be shvuahs rabbanan? You know, the rabbi said, okay, she should swear anyway. What are we talking about? It's about 10 lines from the bottom, Peizanim Beis.
Why doesn't she have a legal?
That
they both agree that she has a star, and he says he paid the 1,000, and she says, no, you only paid me 100.
And he says,
legal, I could have said you didn't give me anything.
Right, I could have said you didn't give me anything. Why she could have said that, right? She could have said, but she didn't. She didn't. She could have said that. Believe her when she says that, because it's a good point. She has I could have said you didn't pay me anything, but is she such a Talmud Chacham? Normally, she's not a Talmud Chacham to know that. Oh, if I would have said that, then I could have denied the whole thing, and then I could have believed. You could always say that. Believe me when it say. The Torah says, what's the classic case where you have to make a shvuah? Guy says, you owe me $100, and you say, no, I already paid you 75, only 25. The Torah says you have to make a shvuah. We learn how to psukim, right? There's a migu. He could have said, I didn't pay you anything, right? Could have paid you anything. Ain't a chanami. There is such a migu. But in the case where you didn't pay anything, you still have to make a shvuah. Says to Rabbanan. The rabbi still said that. You still have to make a shvuah, even though you have a migu. But, not everybody's that chacham to say, Medaraisa, I need it. But if I would have denied the whole thing, I wouldn't anything. The rabbi said, put a shvuah in anyway. See here, too. There could have had a migu. But the rabbi said, still, whenever there's a doubt, we're going to make a shvuah. In other words, we're not talking about so much a case of, believe me when I say this, because I could have said that. We had that in cases, but there's usually something that strengthens that, too. Like we had a chazaka, or something. She had a cheskes kashrus in the case which says, believe me when I say that that I was raped, because I could have said it was mukas 8, something like that, right? But she still has something stronger with it too. So you're right, you have a migu over here, but the rabbi still said make a shvuah. So in this case, where the husband says I paid, and she says no, I didn't get paid, and the husband says I got a witness over here. Witness says you get paid. So sabra mercham l'meimah, that's a shvuah d'oraisa, right? We have one aid. Two Adam come along and say that you haven't been paid. There's nothing that you were paid. There's nothing to talk about. If two Adam say you were paid, there's nothing stronger than two Adam. One aid, isn't that a shvuah d'oraisa? So one aid makes you chayiv a shvuah. The chsiv says lo yakum. One person can't get up. One person can't make you chayiv whatever it is. The sin or chatas really means payment or anything like that, or to say that he's chayiv miso. Whatever the case is, one aid is not believed. But the one aid could be mechayiv shvuah. If two people can require you to pay money, echad mechayiv shvuah. So isn't this shvuah d'oraisa? So the Gemara, we have the similar Gemara in a different case. No, it's not a shvuah d'oraisa. Why? Every case where you swear in the Torah, it's to avoid payment. Another, right? You say I owe you $100. I say I've already paid you 75. I've already paid you 75. And you say, no, I owe you the whole thing. I admit that I owe you 25, but I say I paid you 75. So I swear that I paid the 75 to avoid payment. That's a shvuah d'oraisa. Over here, she's swearing to collect ksuba, to swear and collect, not to avoid payment. So that's not a shvuah d'oraisa. V'hinish bas want to tell us, and she swears in order to take money. Since a shtar ksuba is a shtar, and therefore there is an obligation. The lien goes even on property, on real estate. You don't swear in karka. That's a general rule. Yeah. So therefore, it's not a shvuah d'oraisa. What is the shvuah? If there's one aide who says who defends the husband and says, yeah, you paid the whole thing. What is he? And that requires you, says the Mishnah, to make a shvuah. It's not a shvuah d'oraisa. Shvuah d'oraisa, you don't swear in karka, and this involves karka because the ksuba can collect in karka. Number two, a shvur deraisa is always to swear to avoid payment, not to pay. The rabbi said, you're right. In other words, I think what Avram said is also good. Yeah, she has a migu too. If you want to say she's Tam Chacham, she could have said, I didn't pay you anything. But the rabbi said, in order to pacify the husband, there's make a shvu over here. Since there's some doubt in the matter. In a normal case, you would expect that, he has to pay the ksuba. She says, I got the ksuba. He says, I didn't pay it. And they agree. But sometimes there's fights. We're talking about here, of course, a case where they're divorced, right? He collects his ksuba based on death or divorce, but over here he's arguing with her. She's alive. So therefore, be mafais and let's just settle things up, make a shvur. Amar Papa says, listen to this. Remember, what's going on over here? He claims he's paid the whole ksuba, and she's demanding it a second time. Now, what do we say? She should make a shvur that she hasn't collected the ksuba, right? We're not talking about a partial. We're talking about I didn't get the ksuba. She has a star. She has a star, but he has an aid. If agree in a regular case, like Avram said, a regular case, she has the ksuba. He says, I paid you already. And she says, no, you didn't pay me at all. That's all she needs is a star. She has a star. It's an IOU. The ksuba is really an IOU. But if Mishnah said in certain cases where they've already admitted that she got paid partially, there's some question over here, let her make a shvua. Over here, the husband has one witness, let her make a shvua. Now, from the husband's point of view, what's going to happen now? She's going to make a shvua that she hasn't collected her ksuba, and what's going to happen? He's going to pay her again. He has to pay her again. So according to the way the husband's point of view, we don't know who's telling the truth, but from the husband's point of view, that he's paid her already, and he has a witness. He has a witness. You don't assume the guy's a liar. He says, I paid it already. Here's a witness. So he's going to have to pay, and if she makes a shvua, he's going to have to pay it again. That's what we said. She has one witness. She's going to take a shvua and collect it again. So the Gemara says at the top of Peches, Amar Papa, be smart. He can make her make a shvur deraisa. Now, what's the difference between a shvur deraisa and a shvur d'rabbanan? Midaraisa, it's like like we see in the courts today, where they got it from the Jewish thing. What happened in the Torah when they made a shvur? How did they do? They put this hand on the bris, on the makom bris, because that was a dvar mitzvah. What did they have? They didn't have printed texts in those days, or they put it. Where can you be? Where can you put your hand? There's no Bible over here, right? They put your hand down under the waist where the bris is, the makom bris, and put your hand on the bris and make a shvur. We saw in the psukim in the Torah. So, number one, you swear on a chumash, or on a dvar mitzvah, right? And number two, you swear by God's name, or a kinoi of God's name, a nickname of God's name, and that's much more severe. A shvur d'rabbanan, it's just a shvur, I swear. You swear, I swear. No Bible, no curses, not swearing in God's name, right, by the Lord. I'm just swearing. Those words, that's only a shvur d'rabbanan, not as bad. People are very reluctant to take, we always say, I affirm, or I confirm, right? They say, I affirm, I don't want to swear, right? I don't want to swear because there's all kinds of clauses in case you make a mistake, and it's not true. It's very hard to, so people don't want to make a shvur. In general, Jews avoid making a shvur. But a shvur d'rabbanan that we're talking about is not a shvur d'rabbanan, it's not as severe. Now, from his point of view, he's paid her already, right? So he wants to impose on her a real tough shvur. So she'll think twice, she'll get scared, and maybe admit that she's been paid already, right? So he would like to impose on her a shvur d'oraisa, because a shvur d'oraisa with God's name and on a Bible or on a bar mitzvah is much more severe, involves all kinds of clause. If she a regular shvur, but it's only a clause, just like a curse, but Rashi says, but a shvur d'oraisa is a real serious matter. So he would like to impose that on her because he would like her to admit that you've been paid already, right? From his point of view, he's paid her already. Now she's going to collect it a second time. So what can he do? Be smart. Maisla, he can bring her to make a shvur d'oraisa. How? We just said that's only shvur d'rabbanan, because a shvur d'oraisa is only what? To avoid payment, right? To avoid payment. But a shvur d'rabbanan, like this, is to collect. She's trying to collect. That's a shvur d'rabbanan. How can he impose on her shvur d'oraisa? This is what he does. He'll give her the 200. She's demanding the 200 now, right? Again, a second time from his point of view. And what is she going to do? She's going to make a shvur. I haven't been paid. She's going to collect it a second time without making shvur d'oraisa. So here's what he does. He takes another aid. He already has one witness that he paid her last week, right? Now he takes another witness and he pays her the 200 again, a second time, because he's going to have to pay it anyway if she swears, right? If she swears, he hasn't paid. So he gives it in front of a second aid. The samach sadakam then he takes both aid, the aid from last week and the aid from this week, and put them together. Right? He puts them together with Sadabas with the second aid and the last one. And he says, wait a minute. I got 2 Adim now, right? Right. The second aid saw that I gave the ksuba, right, today. Now I have the first aid and the second aid, and they're telling me now. Okay, the second aid says he saw the ksuba. The first aid saw him give her the $200 last week. She says that was a loan. That was a loan. You owe me, you owe me the $200 that I gave you last week. Remember? And I have the aid. That was a loan. I have a witness that I lent you $200. You owe me the money. And what's the halacha when aid echad to when she's caught? Now, you understand what I'm saying? The second aid that he's giving now saw him give this $200 today. He knows what's going on. He knows he paid her $200 last week, but he wants to be smart. Give her $200 again right now in front of this witness, right? So you gave the ksuba right now. And then pull out the first aid and use the first aid not to say you paid the ksuba, but to say, oh, I gave you a loan of $200 last week. Give me the money. I lent you $200 last week. She's going to say, I didn't borrow any money from you last week. I didn't make a look. Yes, sir, I have a witness over here. Says, in other words, what is she going to do? She's going to say, well, then give me the ksuba. No, there's 2 witnesses that he gave her the ksuba, because you have the witness from last week and the witness from today, right? Saw that you gave the ksuba. I gave the ksuba in front of 2 witnesses, and the witness from last week, hey, how can you combine the 2 witnesses? How can you combine the last one with they're not testifying about the same thing? So there's a machlokus whether it works by moment, but the way Rashi learns here is that it's very simple. If one witness said, I saw something last week, I saw a murder take place last week. Another says, I saw a murder take today. Yeah, I saw, that's not the same thing. Yes, 2 witnesses have to see the same thing together. How can you how can you put together? You want to say that you put these 2 witnesses, she got the ksuba now, and you use the first guy to say the first one will, if she denies that she got the ksuba right now, okay, take the guy from last week and the guy from today and put them together and say she got the ksuba. And the guy from last week will say that was a loan. Now, if she denies a loan, that's a shvur d'oraisa, so he can make her make a shvur d'oraisa. You say, yeah, but he paid her a second time. He would have to pay her the second time anyway, because she's demanding the ksuba. He says, I paid it already. I have a witness, and he's going to have to pay the 200. So I'll tell you what, pay the 200 now in front of another witness. And then you got 2 witnesses that she got paid the ksuba used last week's and this week, and say the one from last week was a loan. Then she has to deny and give me back the 200. Well, she'll have to deny that. She'll have to make the ksuba d'oraisa. Maybe then she'll admit the whole story. But that doesn't work, because how can you combine the witness from last week with this week? They saw 2 different things. No, very simple. Use 2 Adim today. Take last week's aid and take this week's aid, right, and a new aid today, and give her the $200 now. Now there's 2 witnesses that she's been paid the ksuba, right? You have them together. Yeah. Rashi says it doesn't have to be last week's aid and this week's aid. You can take 2 new Adim now. I'm just saying, right? Take 2 new Adim. Give her the ksuba now in front of 2 Adim. So there's no doubt as to what took place, right? Then pull out last week's aid and say, I gave you a loan last week. Give me the money back. And say first, Maskal of Shay, good kasha. Maskal of Ashi, Akati Yocholamema based ksubas. He could still say that she could still say, wait, I had 2 ksubas. You were very generous with me when we got married, and you gave me a second ksuba. Maybe that was a ksuba. After all, the first guy saw him pay the 200. The first aid, maybe he saw, yeah, that was a ksuba. Wasn't I there for ksuba? Elam Ravashi, who demodalahu. He tells him in advance. In other words, he takes the first guy. He takes the first guy who saw the ksuba last week. He says, listen, you saw the ksuba last week. You saw me give it to her, right? She's denying the whole thing. And you saw it, right? Now I'm going to teach her a lesson. I'm going to give her another ksuba in front of 2 guys, you and another guy. And then if she claims that last week was the ksuba, don't help her out. Don't help her out. In other words, it's right, because then the argument is, if she says last week's was the ksuba and this week's the ksuba, right? And you only have 1 witness on both. If there's only 1 witness on today and 1 witness on last week, she could deny them both, swear, and collect the 3rd time, says Rashi, right? She'll collect the 3rd time. Rashi says she could still say ksuba shtei sharos hayuli alechem b'proration erzartilcha, but for honor rishon erzartilcha I return the ksuba achas, and the second one I return the second ksuba. In other words, Rosh Hashanah, and therefore she can collect even a 3rd time if she so swears now. So therefore, what he does is he tells him, look, you know what's going on. I paid her the ksuba, but she's going to deny it. So don't defend her. Don't defend. Just say I saw the $100. So yeah, it's true. If he wants to be, he says no, I saw it given as a ksuba. You could get around it. But anyway, she's trying to get the ksuba a second time. So that's what he says. If he's smart, he could bring her to a shvua daraisa by turning last week's ksuba into a loan and saying that was really a loan and you got to give me back the money and I have a witness to it. So therefore, you have to swear, at least scare her into that. That's what the Gemara says. It won't work in all cases. If she's really smart and say, no, that was the ksuba, and maybe, force the first aide to say what it really was. Maybe he just saw it and give her $200 and he didn't know what it was. That's also possible. Okay, it depends on the circumstance. Mishnah says if you collect from Mechasim Shvarim, you also have to make a shvua. All these cases, if she has to go collect the ksuba from Mechasim Shvarim, like if the husband sold all his property to a purchaser and she has to collect, she also has to make a shvua. What's the shvua? That she hasn't been paid yet, right? Tanan also, we learn like this in shvuas. Yisomim should only get paid with a shvua. Now, in other words, if Yisomim have to collect money that belong to their father, an outstanding loan or whatever, they can only collect with a shvua from the debtor. So now, who are they collecting money? Milova, they collect money from Lova. What do you mean? If the kids have an IOU, Yorshim have an IOU, that their father was the creditor. And the father, if he has an IOU, he doesn't make a shvua. I have an IOU, Yomi money. Yomi money, that's not enough to make a shvua. I have an IOU, it's written down, right? There's a star. So if the father would collect without a shvua, inu shvua, they have to make a shvua. That doesn't, if Yisomim, creditors are collecting from the debtor's Yorshim, from debtor's heirs. Since the debtor's heirs cannot make a real claim, they don't know what's going on. We're talking about little children, Yisomim. So you probably have to make a shvua. What are the debtor's children saying? What are the Yorshim saying? That's only if they said, listen, what are they denying? I mean, if the kids come with an IOU, you just collect it, right? No, the kids are saying, our father told us that he paid it back already. I know there's a loan, but they paid it back already. That's when they have to make a shvua and they collect. If the debtor's kids say, Abba Lola Visi, our father swore that he never borrowed anything from you, they can't even collect with the shvua. Well, wait, does it make any sense? I mean, when somebody says, I never borrowed money from you, that's as if they said, I haven't paid it back. That's a classic thing to say, right? When you say, I never borrowed anything from you. If you say that, that's like saying, I never paid you back. This is what it means to say. What do we say? When kids come and collect from other kids, creditors' heirs are collecting from the debtor's heirs. That's only if what are the debtor's kids saying that forces the creditor's kids to make a shvua. If the father said, no, I paid it back. That's what they said. Our father told us that he borrowed and he paid it back. If our father said, Lo Lavisi, I never paid it back, they don't even make a shvua. In other words, if the kids are coming with a star, the kids have an IOU and they're coming to the debtor's kids, they can collect the money, right? But if the debtor's kids are saying, no, our father told us he paid it back already, he forgot to tear it up, whatever, he forgot to take it back, he lost his receipt, whatever, then the creditor's kids have to make a shvua, And what is their shvua? They swear that they haven't been paid back. The father told them they never been paid. There's no record of it being paid back. They have to make a shvua. But if the debtor's kids say, no, there was never any such loan, and you have a star in front of you, the creditor's kids can collect even without a shvua. Another case the Mishnah said, let's say the husband went overseas. He divorced her and he went overseas. She comes to court, she says, I never get the money. Can the court go in and take his assets, right? They take his assets, garnish his assets in order to pay her. So the Mishnah says, yeah, but she has to make a shvua. She has to make sure that she hasn't made back. The husband's not here. He's not reachable. They didn't have cell phones, telegrams, nothing. So if he was here, he might have said, I paid her already. I just lost the receipt. But if she has the ksuba and he's not around, so she has to make a shvua and then she can collect. Amar Rachav Sarabi, that was his name, Sarabi, or he was called like the manager, the officer of the house. His story came like this before Yitzchak and took you that place. This that we say you can collect from a man in absentia. He's not here. The guy went overseas, disappeared on a business trip. He hasn't been back for a couple of years. She wants to collect it. Like we say that you can collect in his absence because otherwise every woman is going to say, I'm not going to get married. Why should I get married? What's ksuba worth? He'll disappear, right? He'll go somewhere else and he won't pay it back. If I can collect from the court by swearing, that's what I'll do, even if he travels away. So there we say only by low. But let's say a regular IOU. A man says, I have an IOU. Yankel owes me $1,000, and here's the IOU. He's not here. He traveled away. I need the money now. No, we don't make that case. That's what he says there. You can't do it. Only for Ksubasisha, because otherwise she won't want to get married. Women won't get married if they know the husband can always avoid paying by making a business trip to Minnesota or wherever you used to go, Kurt, right? Someplace like that, right? Could go, you could disappear. But if you're just an IOU, no. Rabbi says no. Otherwise, even by Bachov, whether it's a ksuba or whether it's a creditor collecting his money, if the debtor just left town, that's not an excuse. If he left town and you can get his assets, you can go to court and get his assets. Otherwise, everybody will borrow money and then travel away. No, and nobody will want to borrow, nobody will want to lend any money. Why would I lend you money if I have no access to your assets, right? I mean, all you have to do is disappear, go out of town for a few days, and I won't find you, and I won't be able to collect. So therefore, this rule applies either way, but you have to make a shvua. Okay, if he has the collateral, let's say he doesn't have a collateral. His collateral is the property. You know,
I'm saying the excuse is that people won't lend money.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is they should be lend money.
Right. So they have a collateral. The collateral, let's say it's not. So right, if it's collateral that he could take with him to the house, then it won't be a problem. Let's say he doesn't have that. The only thing is he has a house. That's his collateral. He puts his house down as a mortgage against loan. Now, you want to come and collect the house? Well, they say, what's the other guy say? Well, he's out of town. What are you going to do? Can the court go in and take his house, right? If the guy doesn't show up, he's out of town. The answer is yes, if the creditor makes a shvua. Otherwise, people won't want to lend money, because when they lend money, the debtor will just leave town. Same thing with the ksuba. Rav Shimon Omer Kozman. Now, the last words in the Mishnah were on yesterday's Mishnah. Actually, at the top line, you don't even have to turn the page if you don't have a art scroll. Rav Shimon Omer, you could see this on the top of page Zayin and Beis. Rav Shimon Omer Kozman. If she's demanding, if she's claiming ksuba, then the Orshin could force her to swear. If she's not demanding ksuba, the Orshin can't force her. What case are we speaking about? There were many cases. On Peivav and Beis, we first started talking about if a man makes his wife a manager or puts her a storekeeper, he can always make her swear. Or blood, she can even make her swear on her spindle or that she didn't take too much dough. Then we said, well, what if he writes her, you don't have to make any shvuas to me, I'm not going to make a shvua, then you're potter. What happens if he dies? Can he make the kids make a shvua? Can the kids make her make a shvua? Can he make her successors or her heirs, can they be made to make a shvua? All these cases were talked about. And then we said also if she ruins her ksuba, if she admits that the ksuba has been partially paid, or if it's been, if we said, if let's say, for example, there was an aide who said it was paid, all these cases we brought down. And then Rav Shimon comes along and say, if she's demanding her ksuba, then the Orshin can make her swear. If she's not demanding ksuba, what case is Rav Shimon talking about? It's not clear from the words of Rav Shimon. So the Gemara now says a few lines from the bottom of Peches and Rav Shimon Ahai, which case is he going on? Remember Yirmiyah? He's going on this case. The case we just said. She's paid, let's say he's not around. He went overseas, right? He owes her the ksuba, divorced her, and left town. Now, she can get paid even in absentia. He's not here, as long as she makes a shvua. So that's what the Tanakh said. She has to make a shvua. What is she demanding now? When he went out of town. Well, if she's not getting remarried and she's not demanding her ksuba yet, she's just wanting maintenance. So she has to swear that he didn't leave me any petty cash to buy food. Right? He didn't leave me anything. Or also for a ksuba. Let's say she demands her ksuba now because he's divorced her. And right, if she wants her ksuba, for the ksuba or for mazonos, whichever the claim is, she has to make a shvua. Also, Rav Shimon no. Kozman should have ksuba. If she's claiming her ksuba, then they can make her make a shvua. In other words, the Tanakh says if he went overseas, whatever she's collecting, she has to collect with an oath, a shvua. Rav Shimon says no. Only if she's demanding her ksuba, then the Orshin can make her swear. Ain't it tabas ksuba? We're at the top of Peches some days now. Your shab, right? Yeah. What are the Orshin doing here, right? That's the Gemara's going to ask that kasha. Good. What are we talking about, Yorshim? He's alive. He's overseas, right? You caught it. Good catch, Michael. That's a good catch. The Gemara's going to ask that. So Yorshim Mashmina this finish. We have to like to see what the Gemara says. Ain't it tabas ksuba? If she's not demanding, she's not claiming ksuba. Ain't Yorshim Mashmina. And what's the machlokas between Tanakh and Rav Shimon? If we looked at the Hanan and Bnei Karim Gdom, there's a machlokas between Hanan also a Tan and Bnei Karim Gdom. What's the case there? The Tanan Nishal Minas, young man went overseas. The Ishto Tabas Zonos, he went overseas and she wants mazonos, right? Meaning she's still married, let's say, right? Chanan Omer, Tishba B'Sof, Lo Tishba B'Tchila. If she's demanding her ksuba because they're divorced, Tishba B'Sof, if she, let's say, is widowed or divorced and she wants a ksuba, then she has to swear that, he hasn't paid her already, that she doesn't have money in hand for the ksuba. Only then. But if Chanan says, Tishba B'Sof, Lo Tishba B'Tchila, B'Tchila means she's not divorced or widowed yet. She just wants mazona. She wants food. She wants money for the food. So Hanan says you swear at the end only if she's divorced and she's claiming ksuba. Lo tishba b'tchila, not at the beginning. It's only if she wants her ksuba, she's marrying ksuba, then she has to swear. But if she only wants mazona, she doesn't have to swear for that. She's still married. Nechlo argued with Hanan, but Amru, it's a strange thing. Hanan is a Tana and Bnei Karam. They're called Amru tishba b'tchila u'b'sof. No, whatever she demands, she has to make a shvuah. If he's overseas, whether she just wants food, she's still married. Or she's maybe recently divorced, but she's not demanding a ksuba yet. She just wants maintenance, support. Whether she wants that or she wants her ksuba, if she's widowed or divorced, either way she has to make a shvuah. Rav Shimon goes like Hanan. Like Hanan says what? That if she's only demanding mazonos, she's not demanding a ksuba, she doesn't have to make a shvuah. Rav Shimon is makel of here, right? The Tanakama said if the guy went overseas, and she wants anything, money, mazonos, she wants food, or she wants her ksuba, you have to make a shvuah. That's what he said, because it's an absentia. She can collect with a shvuah. Reb Shimon is making says, no, it's only if she demands her ksuba. She wants food, she doesn't have to. So Reb Shimon goes like Hanan, and Rabbanan Kavdei goes, okay, that's maybe what the Mishnah is speaking about, but we have Michael's question. Maslo Rav Sheshes, how Yorshim Mashbianosa? What do you mean Yorshim Mashbianos? What are the Yorshim doing over here? We're talking about a guy who went overseas. He's not dead. He's just not here. So there's a shiloh. Does she have to make a shvuah on anything that she collects, or only? Shimon says only if she wants her ksuba. But what are you talking about the yorshim for? Bez must be some boile. She comes to court. There's no yorshim. He's not dead yet, so that doesn't make sense. So that's not what Rav Shimon's speaking about. Elam Rav Sheshes. Where does Rav Sheshes being makel and say only if she wants her ksuba? On this case, what happened? He made her. What did we say? He made her halchami kever bala. The husband had, let's say, appointed her to be the apitrupas while they were married, right? To run the household, run the business. Now her husband died, and she went straight from the funeral. Basically, she went home to her father's house where she has no access to the Yorshim's assets. Oh, basically, or she went to her father-in-law's house, meaning she went back to her home. But she didn't become an apitrupa yet. She's not handling the kid's business anymore, because now as soon as he dies, the business, all the money goes to the children, and she wasn't in charge. And the Yorshim Mashbian, so they can't make her swear. The Imnas is apitrupa, but if she wasn't apitrupa, then Yorshim Mashbian saw Allah Lavo. They can make her swear on going forward, because now the husband had said, you don't have to make any shvuas to me, right? I absolve you of any shvuas. You don't have to swear to me. But the kids now are in charge, and going forward, they can make her swear because she's running their business. She's running the business. They must be on Mashava, but they can't make her swear on what took place before when the husband was alive, because the husband had appointed the apitrupa and he trusted her. And he said, I'm never going to make you make a shvuah. That's what the Tanakama said. Again, in case of Halcha Beis, that case we said in the Mishnah, right? The Mishnah said if she went to her father's house, right? That's the bottom of Peivav and Beis, that Mishnah. And Rav Shimon comes along to say now he's arguing on that part. Rav Shimon Leimer calls man she does. If she's demanding her ksuba, then Yorshim Mashbianosa. They can make a swear. Ain't of us ksuba, but if she's not demanding her ksuba, ain't Yorshim Mashbianosa. They can't make her swear, even though she is the apitrupas for them now. But if she's not demanding her ksuba, since the husband had said you never have to make a shvuah, even when he's gone and she's working out for the Yorshim, they can't make her shvuah. He's being makel. Look, if we plug the Dabashov, Rabban, they're arguing in following machlokes. Listen to this machlokes. It's not. Who appointed this apitrupas? If he was appointed by the father, then the person has to swear, because otherwise, we don't know if he's trustworthy or not. He was appointed by the father. Minu bezdin lo yishba. If he was appointed by the bezdin, he shouldn't, because who wants to be a court-appointed, guardian, and then he has to make a shvuah? He doesn't want to do that, so people won't want to be a guardian. They won't accept the appointment from the court. Presumably, from the husband or the father over here, he would accept it, because why is he accepting? Because he's a friend of the family. The father had done favors for him, so if this man now had appointed this guy to be the guardian, The guardian accepts the task, even though he'll have to make a shvua. That's what the Tanna Kama says over here. You don't make a shvua because probably the guy did him favor, so he'll do them a favor. Abba Shaul says chilufet from the other way around. Minu bez yishba. Even if he was appointed by a court, he has to be made to swear, even though people don't want to swear. But the covet of being appointed, Mazuz, they're talking about, you're going to be the judge to rule on this case with the Ramatkal and all that. The covet of being appointed by the court, to being appointed a guardian or a judge, that covet alone, he'll take it, even if he has to swear. But Minu Avi Yisavim La Yishba. If he was appointed by the father, why he doesn't want to swear? Otherwise, if you make him swear, he won't want to take the job. That's what Abba Shaul says. Rab Shimon goes like Abba Shaul. Since over here the court the father had appointed her, right? Minu Avi Yisavim Yishba. The father had appointed her to be the guardian. If she's the guardian, even post-mortem afterwards, if she's not demanding the sibah, she doesn't have to swear. It said in the Mishnah that if the father dies and now she's the guardian for the children can force her to swear in the future, just not on the past, because the father had absolved her of the shvua in the past. But on future, yes. Abba Shaul says no. If she's not demanding the sibah, you can't make her swear, because that's the whole idea. It goes like Abba Shaul said that if the father appointed her, obviously someone appointed her, shouldn't swear, otherwise nobody will want the job. I don't want the job, you're going to make me swear. So Reb Shimon goes like Abba Shaul, and Rabbanan goes like Rabbanan. So maybe that's what Reb Shimon is going on in this case, where the father absolved her of shvuas, and then he died, and she was an apitrubas for the children. So the Tanna Kama said, yeah, she has to swear on anything. The children can make her swear anything in the future. Comes along, Abba Shaul says, no. That's only if she's a man in Riksuba, otherwise not. Maskul Abai, this still doesn't work into Lashon. High calls mansha tovas ksuba, so im tovas ksuba. The Tanna Kama is saying she always has to make a shvua to the kids ongoing on the future. Reb Shimon is being makel. He says, no, it's only if she's the man in ksuba. So it shouldn't say kol's man as long as she's man. It could just say im tovas ksuba. Take a look at Rashi, up even with Agol Sabach, where the Agol Sabach is there. Hi, kol's man, just bitmiya. However, Reb Shimon Lakula, what's this kol's man going on in Rashi? Im tovas ksuba. Aval kol's man mashma, the Shaman Tanna Kama, the potter. The Tanna Kama says, potter from a shvua, I feel tovas ksuba. When Reb Shimon comes out, kol's man, she has to do it. If he's being makel, he should say, no. This that you say that she has to make a shvua to the children, that's only if she's demanding a ksuba, then she has to. Otherwise, they don't have to. The lashon of kozman doesn't work as well. And again, if you look at the top of Pei Zayin and Beis, Reb Shimon said kozman she kibas ksuba asa yosh mashmir asa. In other words, mashma you are being makel, and he's coming along to say now you're that kozman she does ksuba, that the Tanna Kama is saying. Kozman's mashma, the Sham Tanna Kama, they says you're potter mashvua. I feel like ksuba, and he says no. Kozman she's demanding ksuba, you can't potter. If Reb Shimon is being makel, he should say if she demands a ksuba, then you have to swear. Otherwise, you don't have to. So he's going. So therefore, this also doesn't work out well. That Reb Shimon is going on that case of swearing post mortem. Mama Kozman she does ksuba back in the Gemara. Elam Rabaya. Aha. What is Reb Shimon going on? We're going on again on the Mishnah on Pevav and Beis. Kasav letter, he wrote her, listen, netter shvua, I'm never going to make you make a shvua, a netter or a shvua, an oath or a vow, whatever, a vow or an oath, whatever you want to call it in English. Netter shvua, netter's on the item, shvua is on herself. Ain yachalish be, you can't make a swear. If he says an extra, let's say he says netter shvua, ain li, v'lo la yorshai, v'lo bam, not only won't I make you swear, I won't make my yorshim swear. They can't make you swear. V'lo la bam, and any of my successors, anybody I sell this to, alecha, I won't make you swear. Val Yorshecha on your heirs. Val Bam Shecha on your successors. Then in Yochel Shbia, he can't make a swear. Lo who, he can't make a swear. Lo Yorshecha, not his heirs. Lo Bam Shecha, not his successors. Can't make any of them swear. Not only can't they make her swear, not only her. Lo he, but Lo Yorshecha, not her heirs. But Lo Bam Shecha, not only comes in her stead, any of her successors. That's what Tanna Kama said. No. Kozman Shetavas Ksubasa Yoshmash Bionosa. Right? As long as she demands her ksuba, the Yorshim could make her swear. Even though the father said, I won't make you swear, my Yorshim won't make you swear, my successors will not make you swear. Not you, not your Yorshim. Rav Shimon disagrees, says no. The rule is when you're demanding stuff from Yorshim, you have to make a ksuba. That's the rule, no matter what he said. That's what I'm saying. But Kozman, right? The rabbis were, the Tanna Kama was more makel. He says, no, Kozman, if she's demanding a ksuba, Yorshim Ashbinosa. But Kamiflu put the Dabashol ben Ima Miriam. Rabbanan, we had this machlokas yesterday, on yesterday's daf. Rabbi Shapiro says, yes, she shouldn't have to make a shvua. She shouldn't have to make a shvua since he promised her. But what can I say that the rabbi said when you collect from that when you're collecting from Yorshim, you have to make a shvua. That the Rabbi Shal says you have to make a shvua anyway, and the Rabbanan say you don't. Rab Shimon goes like Rabbi Shal, says despite the fact that he told her, I won't make you make a shvua, you collect from Yorshim, you have to make a shvua. For Rabbanan, and the Rabbanan go like the Rabbanan says, no, if he absolved her, he absolved her. Rashi says about halfway down, if she's collecting Kimra Yisomim, you have to make a swear like a Bishol. The Omerleo, Avamasa, Shari Omer Chachamim, the Chum said, Abali from the Somim, you should only collect the Shmur no matter what he said. No matter what stipulation he made, the Rabbi said you have to collect. Maskil or a Papa, 4 lines from down at the page in the Gemara. Hatanaf calls man Shetavas Ksavasa. Look at the words again on the top of page Zayin and Beis. Rav Shimon Omer. Calls man Shetavas Ksavasa, Yoshim Esbianos. Okay, we understand now what he said. You're fine. That what happened? You said that if he absolved her, then make a shvur. Rav Shimon says no. If she's demanding from the Yorshim, calls man Shetavas Hayorshim Esbianos. That breaks the words Yorshim, right? Like from the Yorshim, he can't make her make a shvur. The husband himself, if he's still around, but if he died, and she's like the Somim, she has to make a shvur no matter what. What did he have to add those words for? If she's not demanding ksuba, if she's not demanding ksuba, then the Yorshim can't make her swear. What is that? What was that necessary for? He's arguing only the first part. The Chacham said if he absolved her with ksuba of a shvua, she's always absolved. Shimon says no. If you're collecting these somim, no matter what he said, you have to make a shvua. What is this business about? What are those last lines for? I understand that if she's there in Ksuba, you have to, the Yorshim can make her swear. You can't collect from Yorshim unless you make a shvur. But Tavas Ksuba, what are those last words for? If she's not demanding Ksuba, then what? Then any Yorshim must be on also. What is that for? Any Yorshim is Michael Memra. What do Blazer and the Chachamim say on Tevav and Beis? They said, if you make your wife an apotropos, you can make her make a shvur. Just like any other apotropos or any other ashutta. If you have a partner, you can always make him swear because you can't trust the partner, right? Can't trust the partner. Can't trust the opposite. You're going to make him swear. But Bless says you can even make her swear that she didn't take a little extra roll from the kitchen, a little piece of bread, right, on the dough or on a spindle. So they say you can always make her swear. Comes along Shimon to say no. Shimon says, you know what? If she's not demanding ksuba, the Yorshim can't be, nobody can, you can't make him swear at all. He's arguing with the whole thing. The Klomer, Lo Tamer says Rashi, right? Even the Yorshim makes her. Even if you wrote her, I'm not going to make you make a shvua. I'm absolving you of the shvua. You can still make her swear. Right? Ain't it? But if she's not the man in ksuba, in general, a man made his wife a ksuba. What do Rabbi Blaz and Chacham say? You made your wife an apitrup. You made your wife a guardian, running the business, a shopkeeper. You can always make her swear. No, if he didn't demand a ksuba, you can't make it. If you have to trust your wife. If you made your wife the guardian or the shopkeeper, you can't make her make a swear at all. That's what Shimon's saying. Two things. If she's demanding a ksuba, even though you absolved her, the Yorshim, if you collect from the Yorshim, you have to make a shvur to the Yorshim. You can't get around that. If she's not demanding ksuba, you can't even make her make a shvur in general if you made her up a tripus or whatever. Says the Mishnah. Now, when we talk about making a demanding, what happens? She got a divorce. Talking about not a death. She comes with a divorce document, the get, and she has a ksuba. Either one proves that she's divorced and she should have a ksuba. Even if she didn't have a ksuba, we talked about many cases where they didn't write a ksuba because the minig was you just went with it's an act of the court. You always have to get every woman is entitled to a ksuba, whether she has it written down or not. She's entitled to ksuba. So sometimes she would collect ksuba just with her get. I don't have the ksuba, but I have a get. She should collect with that. Let's say see a get then and she doesn't have the ksuba. Go with ksubasa, she can collect the ksuba with that, even though she doesn't have the shtar, right? Rashi says we're assuming if she says I lost the ksuba, but I have the get. That's why today when they give a get, what do? They tear it up right away and give her a receipt that she got to get a proof that she got to get so she's able to get remarried somewhere else, right? But you don't hold on to the get for a number of reasons. It's a dangerous thing. Somebody else could use it. She might collect the ksuba. Okay, ksuba. Let's say she has the ksuba. She doesn't have the get. She has the ksuba, but she doesn't have the get. And she says, I lost the get. No, of it shovri. No. You collected the ksuba with your get. and we tore up the get, and I had a receipt that I paid because you said the time you lost your ksuba, and I lost my receipt. Let's say a Balchov has an IOU, right now, right? Today, right after Shemitah was over, right? The guy comes to me and says, I have an IOU, here's an IOU. He says, no problem. We just had Shemitah. The IOU, the loan is canceled, right, by Shemitah. Well, I had a prusbul. Where's the prusbul? Do you guys all have the prusbul that we signed last week? Does everybody have it? I don't have my prusbul, right? The guy Balchov says, here's the IOU. I don't have a prusbul. The Tanakhama says you can't pay them. The guy has a little bit of claim. Where's your ksuba? Where's the prusbul? Shmuel says, after the goyim prohibited us to have documents, Jewish documents like a prusbul or anything like that, like a get. The eilach isha goes ksuba, so she can collect the ksuba without a get, just as the ksuba with even without a get, because you can't keep a get, because if you see a get, the goyim would hurt them, would hurt the Jews, because you had a get. You shouldn't use a get. You should only go by their laws. You don't want to see prusbul around because the goyim would fight with you and give you a problem. So therefore, a Baal Chov can collect without a prusbul, assuming that the guy had a prusbul, and she can collect her, says Rav Shmuel, she can collect the ksuba without a get. If she has the ksuba, where's the get? That's how it works at Bisman Hazeh, when the goyim were empowered over us and we had no choice, then you can collect the ksuba even without a get. So tomorrow we'll talk about these cases in Mitzvah tomorrow. Tomorrow again at 5:20, at 5 o'clock, excuse me, at 5 o'clock. And mentioned by Erev Yom Kippur, we'll see, maybe we'll do that. We'll go back to 5:20. We'll just see how far we get tomorrow. Have a good day. Shavua Tov, Mar Simon Tov.